we ranked every replayable PvE mechanic in Pokemon that wasn't just gym battles. Do we already have the best available? Or is Rogue Mega Evolution the best replayable content we've ever gotten? Stick with me because the answer might surprise you. This new raid system versus previous PvE stuff that they've introduced. The stuff that's supposed to make the game more replayable. Now, there are PvP stuff, but that's a whole separate thing. This is PvE, or just some gameplay mechanics that really do make these Pokemon games replayable besides just shiny hunting and once you've caught all the Pokemon in the game. And we'll get right into it with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the Ultra Wormholes. And I'll pull it up here. Ultra Wormholes were a mechanic like that they put back in at the end of the life cycle of the 3DS. If you haven't played the games, you could travel through wormholes and basically play a little mini game. And the further you went, it has the different distances here. This LY is light years. The further you went, the more likely it would be to encounter shiny Pokemon or wormholes that had the Ultra Beasts or wormholes that had legendary Pokemon in them. And you could consequently farm legends, farm Ultra Beasts, and farm shiny Pokemon all at the same time with this mechanic. It was random. You could try and get the same ones every time, but there was a challenge. The further you went, the harder the mini game got. It would be harder to steer whichever Pokemon you were flying through the wormhole in as you went further. So you would have more of a chance of just randomly going through one of these wormholes, or the exits of the wormhole. So you would just you could end up somewhere really short, because otherwise, why wouldn't you just keep going until you got to the end with the highest chances of getting the hardest wormholes? And the cool thing is, these first Pokemon here were your standard chances. You could get these as shinies. And I remember when I was doing this, I ended up with tons of shiny Swellow and shiny, Altaria. Because I would just keep doing it so I could get, Mewtwo and all sorts of stuff. And as you kept playing, you could transfer them, and it was kind of fun. As a replayability thing, it was just you go there, you go through the wormhole, you get into the area. There was no battling. The battle was to catch the Pokemon. Those Pokemon did have low catch rates, so you had to have the tools still to catch it once you got to the wormhole. But just getting the chance to battle Mewtwo multiple times, to get to battle all of those Pokemon multiple times, was a good legendary hunting method, because it was a chance and it was a surprise. It gave you a little bit of something fun. There wasn't any events. You could still play it now, so it didn't have to be supported. And to me, in my personal ranking system, I would say that this method, will be good. You could still do it now, have fun, do it passively on the bus, and not have to have internet support, and just go there and get there and catch them, and you're good, right? You want to go catch your legends? You don't have to play hours and hours of gameplay. You just get the game done, and you can sit and have fun in Ultra Wormholes forever, and you're getting a whole bunch of mechanics all in one. Now we'll move on to what we got right after that with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. We didn't get any mechanics like that. We got a game that went alongside Pokemon Go and was basically supposed to support Pokemon Go and move people to mobile, which they decided was not a good idea, or I guess move people that were playing mobile to the video games, whichever their intention was. Now we got catch combos. This was the only replayability for Let's Go. Exploring the environment was fine, and catching the legends that were in the game, Mewtwo and the 3 legendary birds, that was fine as post-game. But the only replayability was to get rare shinies by doing the catch combo. They made catching, which was they tried to double down on just catching Pokemon. They moved a little bit away from the battles. They made the battles easy and catching the Pokemon fun. And I think they were trying to just double down on what Pokemon Go was. People catching millions and millions and millions of Pokemon. You're talking, when you got these catch combos up, you could spam shinies, and it made them less rare, which makes it less fun. And since that was really the only gameplay mechanic, it made doing anything else, wanting to play that game for a long time, not great. So this one was in no way any good. You can go rebattle trainers. Is that really fun? Rebattle the same trainers over and over again every day, basically just farming the trainer routes. Doing the master trainers that weren't even that hard because you could build a team that could beat all of them. Then the next mechanic let's talk about is we got into Sword and Shield. Now, Sword and Shield had two mechanics. The base game, which is max raid battles. Right here, we look at where you just took a Pokemon into the max raid den. You could do these with friends, and you just took turns, and it was like the turn-based mechanics of Pokemon battles, just done against like one boss, which to me is very fun. It was challenging. You could get rare Pokemon with good stats and shiny Pokemon and hidden abilities, and they added all the fun stuff of hunting certain Pokemon into these max raid dens. And like I said, it shows here you could do it with friends. There was tons, like all sorts of different ones, fun and shiny, and they did some fun events too. Let's see, does this have a list of events? No, this does not have special raids. Oh no, that's just the in-game special raids. They had a big upside because these were places where you could get the Gigantamax Pokemon, which were special forms of certain Pokemon, and they were only released at certain times at some points or certain days, making it really fun, right? Gigantamax Meowth, the big, tall, building Meowth. Gigantamax, all of these fun forms of these Pokemon with special moves. Gigantamax Replenish, Gigantamax or Gmax Cuddle. Like they were good moves with fun mechanics. They really just gave some interest to the game. Some of these I don't even remember. I might have missed some events because I don't remember Gigantamax Hatterene. And I don't remember. I do know Gmax. I think I remember Gmax, so I must know Gigantamax Hatterene. Just maybe it wasn't very good. But some of these, like the big buffed up versions of them, were really fun, and it just gave you big Gigantamax moves with some extra stuff baked in. Some of them did extra damage. Some of them did heals. Some of them did crowd control. So they were fun to battle against. When we go to rank this one, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the fun when supported tier because, like, once the events ended, once the game kind of ran its life cycle, you can go get those Gigantamax Pokemon, but it was more fun. I think the most fun I had playing in the max raid battles was when they first announced the Mewtwo, and it was going to be the hardest content in the game. And although the community broke it and we found a way to bust it, it was the first real fun challenge trying to solo and trying to battle a Pokemon that I had in a long time. Before that, it was just level the Pokemon up. Unless you put in a self-imposed challenge to underlevel your Pokemon on purpose or use type disadvantage on purpose, Pokemon battles were not hard. Nothing in the game took more than two tries. If you didn't do it on the first try, you could just look at it, figure it out, and do it on the second try. And I get it. These are kids' games that adults play. They're designed for everybody to play, so they have to be playable for kids too. But I like the fact that they started adding in challenging content that wasn't just a straight time sink. Shiny hunting to me is cool in some games, and the games that it's harder in, it's just a time sink. If you spend the time doing the thing, eventually you'll get the thing you want. And then when you get the thing you want, you just sunk time to get it. It's like eventually you'll pay the cost to get it, where, it's more of a cold mechanic than it is trying to figure it out and doing it finding multiple ways to do it is fun on some like raid battles. Now we'll move on to Dynamax Adventures. Dynamax Adventures were similar to Ultra Wormholes in a way where you could go down paths and have fun doing multiple raid battles in a row you could do them with friends. You could use the computer, but you could do them with friends. In these, you would get good rewards. But along with it, you could find legendary Pokemon. You keep playing them, and at the end, the last battle, you would get to do these paths. I don't know if you haven't ever played them. You would go down these paths, and these little pink clouds, you would be going up the map right here. These little pink clouds, each one of those would have a Dynamax Pokemon in it. And you would be able to get a chance to change your Pokemon or get your Pokemon items, or there's some, where are we at? Right here? No, right here. Right here. Right here. There's like little items on the ground. And you would be able to pick those up. Sometimes those would be berries, or you would be able to talk to people. There you can see down a little lower here. There's a person right above that dialogue box. You would be able to talk to them, and they would give you an option of here's a Pokemon, or here's an item, or you can swap Pokemon, and you would try to build up your team so that you could fight the Pokemon at the end. And sometimes that Pokemon was a legendary or an Ultra Beast or something really strong and fun, or sometimes it was shiny, and you would try to battle it out. Now this one was took more time because you're doing multiple raid battles, and then at the end you may not even get it. You may just lose because the last one was challenging. It was very fun, but the problem I have with this one is because it was multiple raids, you kind of had to sit down and have time to play it. So you could get your legendaries and you could have fun playing with friends. It was a much bigger chunk of time you had to do to sit down, and if you failed, you were using a lot of time to not get the thing you wanted, you know? So this one, I think we're going to put that one in the it wasn't done cooking. It was similar to the Ultra Wormholes, but the fact that it took more time and you had to make a lot more decisions, and those decisions were still random because the Pokemon you got in to choose from were random, but your items could be random. The choices to heal versus grab an item could be at bad points, and you could just end up in a bad position at the end after putting a lot of time into it. So I think that one was really not done cooking. Like, there was more of a test. And since they put it in very far post-game DLC content, I think that was maybe a good spot to test it out, except for testing something like that would probably be better off in not paid post-game content, which Ultra Wormholes were not paid post-game content. Like, well, unless you consider Ultra Sun paid DLC that just came as an extra game because like Sun and Moon were a thing, and Ultra Sun and Moon weren't really much different. You just got the different post-game content. It's definitely staying in the not done cooking tier. So then we move on to BDSP first, because it didn't really have a very good player versus environment, but it did have something to do that wasn't just straight up shiny hunting in the Grand Underground. Now, the Grand Underground was okay, but it wasn't really any Pokemon mechanics. It was mining walls. So you played a Minecraft minigame with a pickaxe to get statues to decorate your base, which I know that game wasn't out at the time, but it's like 2 Point Museum. If you played that, like you're just going on an adventure to get things for your base. To then you could use those bonuses to play the game, to put different Pokemon from different regions in the Grand Underground. Like, that was a good idea, but to be honest, this one really wasn't. They tried to bake too much into one mechanic, and I'm going to have to go with saying let's never do that again unless they find a way to put challenging battles, like a raid den style thing in there where you go to this area and it has this type of den and there could be random Pokemon in there. Like, they could make it better. So we're putting the Grand Underground goes in the stop and get some help. just because you could change 10 things about that and still not make it a fun mechanic. You would have to gut it and restart in some way. Like the way it is now, it's fun, I suppose, for a little bit, but once you realize all you're doing is picking at a wall with a pickaxe to get statues, and then you just place them down and that's all they are. And most of the time you're just trying to cram as many of the statues into your base as possible so you can get as many buffs as possible, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's move on to Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus. And that had the mechanic of the space-time distortions, where you could go and hunt different Pokemon from different times, from different regions, with a challenge. With basically, the challenge was facing the clock, which, if we find it here, space-time distortions here, you see these are 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It gives you a clock, right? And you're basically doing this to get this group of Pokemon here, which, although fun in the game, are not absolutely amazing. Nobody's, like, you may have had fun with these, and some of these may be your favorite Pokemon. Maybe Scizor is your favorite Pokemon, but Scyther was in the game, and I believe you could use the link cable to get that to work. Ghastly was in the game, and you could use the link cable to get that to work. Like, some of these are where you could bypass mechanics with this, but getting all of these Pokemon that weren't all that great, and then just some okay items, to me, some people may have had fun with this, but personally it wasn't for me. And just because of that, I think that we're going to put that one in the not done cooking tier, because of the fact that they could have done a lot with that if the game had a better online support. If the game wasn't just, here you go, we'll fix bugs, but there it is for you. If they would have done any sort of online support with that game, which is the only thing I'm scared about with Legends EA, is if you're going to make us wait till next year for Generation 10, then we would, and you're going to make us pay $30 for DLC right out the gate, we're going to need some online support. Some sort of events in the game that aren't just what we're looking at right now, which is a ranked battle system, which is going to give us ranked seasons to play against each other. So, I mean, that's promised that they're already going to be meddling in the game unless they have that stuff pre-programmed. You know, they've already decided. I mean, they've definitely already decided what they're doing for the first 3 seasons, but on their website, we can click on Legends EA. We can visit the site. We go here, and we find obtain Megastones in ZA battle ranked events, and then, like it says, Battle Season 1, Battle Season 2, Battle Season 3. And the thing with this is it only gives you the date starting for the first one, meaning you don't know when it's going to end. These could be 2 weeks, these could be 1 month, they're waiting to set that to see how many people buy it right out the gate, or how many people are logged on and online the first week, to see how long they're going to make these take. I'm assuming it's 2 weeks or more. It shouldn't be less than that. That's 20 days is within 14 to 20 days is a standard, just quick season. They could do 3 months. And if you're talking 3 months, this 4th season ends in a year from now, meaning they don't have to support this very much. But if they rotate through these seasons fast, they give more people more chances to get in, get their battles done, and get all their Megastones. You know, where if they do them faster, they can repeat them. If they do them slow and you miss them, you miss Greninjite. Well, if I already missed one, what's the difference if I miss this one? What's the difference if I miss this one? If you log in every few days, or if you play once a week, having these be every 2 weeks rotate is good for you because you can log in this week, do your battles, log in next week, collect your stone, log in the week after, do your battles. You know, you stay on, you stay playing the game, and I think that's the best way they can do that one. But that's just talking about something else, so that that's me getting fully distracted from my tier list. And that's the online versus not having any online support in Legends Arceus. So we'll move on to our last game, Scarlet and Violet and Terra Raid battles. Now, we just finished, and I don't have it on here. We can go back on this. We just finished what I think is the very last of our raid battle events in Pokemon, where we got Shiny Chi-Yu. And those were all 4 legends. We also got announced that they're, like they've done in the past, we're getting the shiny box legends through a gift code that you get from going into GameStop. And that's usually the cycle of the thing. You can get the shiny box legends by going into GameStop when you go pick up your new game, right? You're going to go pick up Pokemon Legends ZA. Go pick up your card as well. You're going to go in there. Why not buy it there? It gives them it's the marriage of we're going to give you something to get them to come in and buy the game at your store. Even though you can buy the games on the eShop or just buy them directly from Pokemon. But some people just like to get them day of because you buy them directly from Pokemon and there's no guarantee you're going to get it the day of launch. And that's, if you're buying it that early, that's what you really want. Terra Raid battles, I put in 1,000 hours in that game. And I put in 900 hours in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, probably 200 or 300 hours in Sun and Moon. I think I'm at like 600 hours for Sword and Shield. Legends Arceus, I caught the Pokemon and put the game down. 600 hours in Sword and Shield with a game that had multiple DLCs. Is that really it? Yes, Scarlet and Violet had multiple DLCs. And I put 1,000 hours in. They trickled it out. They knew that this game was going to be... They were going to take a while and make sure they polished everything up after this because of everything that went wrong with it not translating well to handheld versus TV mode and just having problems with playing it. If you played the game in handheld mode, if you played Scarlet and Violet in handheld mode, it was good for the whole life cycle. But if you were trying to play it on your TV and you got in some of the areas where the spawns were bad, it would lag and it wouldn't be as fun and it wouldn't feel like a comfortable Pokemon game. Now, it was still better than playing your 2D pixel game. You know, the speed, the feel of it felt better to me. But some people just didn't like that. And I just think when we're playing Terra Raids in the future, I do like that 6-star Terra Raids can be amazingly challenging. I've played against some that took me multiple tries, multiple different Pokemon. I had to build up special Pokemon. I had to go out and catch Pokemon and EV them and make sure I had the right natures and abilities and items and have a full attack plan and have to get the right partners that were the 6-star raids. Not even the 7-star raids that they did. Now, these 7-star raids started out really hard, then over time, slowly got easier. And what was really nice for some of the limited time Pokemon that you were only going to be able to catch in these Terra Raids, they'd made them 5 stars. You know, basically here, we'll give this to you. With this last round of events, they made them easy and you didn't even have to beat them. They just handed them out as a gift code for everyone. Like, work together as a community. And seeing that still 3 million people or 3 million battles were done on the last one, even when people found out that they didn't even have to battle them. That was amazing. People were still playing these games to get their shiny legends. They're rare once in a lifetime because this will never be available again, Pokemon, unless you want to go ahead and gen these Pokemon. It's cool, to see that many people are still playing this game. And that makes it great, but it does not make it forever good, because we're not going to have events. I'm not going to log on in 2 years and be excited to rack my brain to beat a 6-star electric Terra Gothitelle that has competitive and you can't do anything to it because it just gives it a stat boost. I have a video on that. I don't want that kind of headache, because you don't need to go through all of that headache to get that special Pokemon. And early on in the game's life cycle, these were fun because you could get really cool combinations. You're talking like you would get a Fairy Terra Lucario, and you're talking Steel Fighting Fairy Pokemon. That was amazing. Like, it was cool. That was fun to use the playthrough with. You weren't going to catch that, and it wasn't until like late game where you could change their Terras, and that was super costly in the early game or middle game, because you couldn't just farm Terra shards that early on. So you could find fun combinations, and it was cool to go through those and try to get interesting ones, and you also got rewards for it. You would farm the small ones and still get rewarded for it. So although I think this one was executed well, had a lot of good upside, had a lot of good level scaling, because there was 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up to 7-star raids. Had good level scaling, so you could do it at all levels of the game once you discovered it. But it has a problem in, I doubt we're getting any more events, any more community-based stuff, because we're moving on. It's time to move on to the next game, kids. We're moving on to the next grade. We're not in middle school anymore. It's time to move on. It's time to go to college. Let's go. So this one gets to the same tier as Max Raid Battles, as it was fun when it was supported. But it's not going to be forever good, because you're not going to be able to go on and go with your friends and try to figure out a way to take down Mew, or take down 7-star Emboar, like Mightiest Mark, once in a lifetime Pokemon. Like, those days are gone. So this is fun when supported tier. Now, we are going to theorize how this is going from all of these things we've kind of gleaned. And the only problem I have with this is that the fact that the first one of these mechanics that they really did was good. It could have been better, but am I right? Like, how would they have made Ultra Wormholes better? You couldn't chain them, because that would have just been this Dynamax Adventures. You couldn't put a raid battle at the end, because then you're trying to farm these just to possibly fail, and you could fail Ultra Wormholes, but you're trying to farm these just to possibly fail, and you couldn't make them take longer. Like, this was good. It didn't take a lot of time. You could sit there in your room and farm them for your 3-4 hours a week that you had or whatever to play Pokemon. You could pick it up and play 20 minutes at a time. Good for bus rides, good for if you're commuting, good for if you just have to sit in a waiting room. This was a lot. This was a lot of good stuff baked into it. Now, with that, knowing all of the things they've learned here, and also adding in the Legends mechanics, where it's real-time battles, real-time entrances, my hopes for this is that it is supported. There is areas in the game, maybe a warehouse or some place where you can go and they have like something housed, or a laboratory where they're testing mega evolutions, like forced mega evolutions on Pokemon, and you can go get, like, that's where you go get Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y and Charizard, and then they have extra ones and bonus ones, shiny ones that are marked, and all sorts of stuff. Like, they can bake into this, besides it just being on a rooftop or somewhere in time and space, because this is a mix of time space distortions and max raids, only they're real-time battles. And we have to see how well this plays in online versions, because I'm thinking, because they're going to have a lot of online mechanics in this game, that you'll also be able to play with friends and try to take down these Rogue Mega Pokemon, but I'm not positive. But they do have you and your team that go and run and take these down. So I'm thinking that some of these are challenging and you get help from the AI, your AI partners, but there's a chance that you could replace them with friends and play online, because they're already going to have online capabilities there's PvP in this game, multiple versions of PvP. So we'll see. And if this game has events where you can get rare Pokemon, if this challenge mode is actually challenging and it allows you to combine the mega held items and mega moves and all these sorts of stuff together to create interesting strategies, and you need to use those interesting strategies, you can't just go in and face some of the harder Pokemon. Like, you get level 75s and level 100s that make you have to really try. Then this mechanic could easily get up to the fun when supported tier and possibly be forever good. Because if you can play it forever and have fun playing with friends, as long as they support this, they're in good shape. As long as they just have a server dedicated to playing online with your friends and find a way to rotate content, it will be amazing. But I think you can already see where this is going. This is the fact that I am not positive, so I just am going to put it in the safe spot of the probably fun when supported here, because I'm thinking that once we move on to the next game, these are just going to be the same 10, 12 raids, same 10, 12 rogue megas that you're going to be able to do all the time, or the grocery list of these are the top 10, these are the next middles, and then the bottom tier megas, and you can't really, you won't be able to farm, maybe you'll be able to farm crafting stuff or money to get the styles and everything like that. And I think it'll be done after that. Like, once the next game comes out, this won't be as fun. You could pick my favorite, as we see on this tier list, is Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because you could pick that up right now and go have fun farming legends. You can, the Dynamax Adventures, you can pick that up right now and go get all your legends, right? But you're only getting one of them through playthrough, and you're not even guaranteed to get them. In Scarlet and Violet, you don't even get your legends through this. You get your legends through a whole different mechanic that has nothing to do with PvE. It's just do a bunch of tasks. Do these tasks, make these sandwiches, do this, do that. And then I'll give you permission to go hunt the Pokemon, and I'll tell you exactly where it is. I think that's better for here. If you want this legend, go work for it. But again, it's one per save file, meaning you have to do all of those quests all over again every time you want to catch them. And that makes sense for legends, right? And it does make sense to make them accessible to people without having to go buy 10 different games. At most, you have to buy 2 games and their DLC to get all of them. But you really, if you just work with people, you can easily just buy 1 game and the DLC, about $100, and you can go and get your legends. And you can get them, like I said, you can, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you're not going to get it cheap. You got to find a DS that already has Pokemon Bank loaded on it if you want to go ahead and upgrade, like if you want to bring those legends forward. But it was around the same time that the support for that went down that they gave us the Dynamax Adventures, where we could go hunt legends in pretty much, they gave us the ability to get legends in every game, like all of them, not just hey, you get these legends from this game, these legends from this game, and these legends from this game. You can go down and hunt them in pretty much every game now. They're not locked behind. You have to go back and get certain Pokemon. Now, some Pokemon have been like locked behind other games and you have not even been playable on the Switch yet. But I think we're past that.